Since the early 19th century, hundreds of thousands of immigrants from Poland set sail chasing dreams of a better life, free from poverty and war, sometimes simply out of curiosity about the world. For the next 200 years, the wave of migration never ceased. Emigration is a part of our DNA. You'll find Poles on every continent. Some of them found success, others faced struggle. But wherever we went, we brought more than just suitcases. We got heart, resilience, hard work, and a deep drive to contribute to society. From small towns to big cities, Polish immigrants have left their mark. Join us as we explore the stories of Polish immigrants who changed their lives and the lives of the places they came to.
My name is Marta Kwiatkowska. I'm a professor at the University of Oxford. I work in the Department of Computer Science. I'm also a fellow of Trinity College, Oxford. I was born and brought up in Poland. I also studied in Poland. I went to the Jagiellonian University and was one of the first intakes of computer science. In those days, I started in 1976, not many people knew about that. And then in order to study for doctorate, I came to Britain, and where I met my husband. I got a permanent position as a lecturer, and then eventually I came to Oxford for a professorship in 2007, and this is where I have been since. I arrived here in '84, and again I feel I was very fortunate because I first came to Oxford to an English language school. Now, Oxford has a university that goes back to 1260, but I was in Krakow at the Jagiellonian University, which, as I say, is only 100 years younger. So at the time, I felt at home. I think it was harder when I started my PhD because I had to adapt. My husband is English as well, which helped me because he could translate and he could explain things that I didn't understand. I met my husband at the university, so I was a PhD student, and then he graduated from the university, joined the department, and that's how it started. But my husband is English, so there was some adjustment that I think was hard for me to start with, because of course Polish people are more direct, and I think socially I moved, from a group, friendship groups, both at school and at the university, where we went to parties, we did a lot of dancing. Polish people still do that, but here, no, not even at the wedding. Of course, it was not smooth, but I think this can be explained, by the fact that what I was doing, because I was, the first female academic in my department at the time, this was unusual for them. It was not unusual for me because my mother worked, for example, and I felt also, as you know, during the Poland was a more meritocratic society. Women did work, women were expected to work and manage childcare. But this was not the situation, I think, in Britain at the time. There was, and there still is, a subsection that believes that the woman's place is at home. So I think for them, it was, you know, just something that they had not come across. And the situation has improved somewhat. We have more professors, but we still have very few junior female academics. And the gender balance in the undergraduate degree is also not particularly good. My main research theme has been on developing techniques that we can use in order to prove whether computer programs do the right thing. So we call it model checking, you know, which is automatic. And I've been doing this for quite some time, but for the past, 7 years or so, I have shifted to adapting these techniques to neural networks and more broadly to AI, to try to develop methods and tools that can actually check whether, say, a neural network is robust or whether the decisions of a neural network are safe, you know, whether we can trust the decisions of the neural network. I mean, there is still a lot of excitement and sort of well-founded excitement in AI, you know, and what AI and machine learning can do for us. But I think also people are in a hurry, and I think deployment is coming before, you know, proper testing has been completed. I don't think you can stop the enthusiasts. You know, we can't stop progress, and we should not really be stopping progress, but I think we do need to have better regulation. I think at the moment AI is not well understood. So even, you know, people who are, for example, you know, in companies that want to apply AI, they don't really understand the positive and the negative aspects, and sometimes they may rush, you know, a solution. And I think we see that in the news all the time, you know, where, say, some large language models have made this mistake, you know, or that hallucination, and this is just because, you know, they are rushing things without properly testing and without thinking through the consequences of introducing something that will actually, you know, is known to behave that way. It's known to have instabilities. So there are two aspects. One is AI that's not properly developed and not properly understood, but I think another one is AI in the wrong hands. I mean, of course, the examples that, say, we know about from the media are the use of social networks and interference in elections, which is relying on psychological profiling, you know, so sending the news only to certain groups of people and changing their views and changing their behaviors. I think this is well known. I think another example, which is, you know, the way that AI, generative AI, you know, is trained, it relies on access to huge amounts of data. So, for example, ChatGPT, OpenAI's tool, it was trained on the whole of the internet, and many other generative AI tools that produce images from text, they are trained on image databases, and this is without necessarily respecting the licensing restrictions. And there are, at this point, court cases, I think, in the US against this way of training. And I think that, when the excitement stops, I think things will settle, but I think right now I am concerned about some of the directions, and in particular the lack of regulation in some cases. But I think I have faith in humanity and human intelligence. In particular, that I think that these problems are solvable and they can be solved. It is a community which includes fellows, so these are academics, senior academics like me. We have about 40 fellows, but it also has 2 other groups. The fellows call themselves the Senior Common Room, SCR, but we also have the Junior Common Room, and that's the name for the undergraduate students. Trinity has about 300 undergraduate students, and there is also the Middle Common Room, which includes graduate students, so master's students, doctoral students, also has associate members. So, for example, postdocs in my group also have an associate membership. So it's, the college is a place where, students come, they live here, they come for learning, they get tutorial teaching here. There are social occasions, dinners, for example. I think just friendships, but also the ability to, talk when I go for lunch, and I can talk to other fellows in other subjects, which is not something that normally happens in a department, because in a department it's all about computer scientists. But here I can talk to, someone working in law or someone working in chemistry, and, we can kind of swap notes and learn about the best practices, both about teaching and research. I have a British passport, which I applied after 4 years of working here, so I've had the British passport for a long time. But I also have a Polish passport, and I think in many aspects I feel Polish. I would say, it is not an issue for me, but I think it has been an issue, especially post-Brexit, for Polish people here, because I'm embedded in this very international environment, because we have, international academics in the department at the university, and also students. Oxford is also a very different place from a, typical English town. So it's not an issue for me, but I suppose my identity is still, primarily Polish, and I think my husband would agree.